All right, Shalom. I want to start by giving our praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and also to their elders, the men that taught them. I pray the Lord have peace, blessings, and mercy upon the households of the hopeful elect. This is the brother Shema Wan from the Great Millstone Houston Church, and I want to come with a lesson today. Going into the account that happened to me early this morning, probably around midnight. But I got attacked by a demon where I was awake. You know, my eyes were open and everything, and I was just laying down on my back, just meditating. You know, the past few days I haven't been feeling too well. And I was just meditating on the scriptures about, you know, how we got something greater to look forward to, and this ain't the end all be all. This is a part of the walk. But as I was thinking, I got attacked by a demon where I got held down, and like I said, I was awake, my eyes were open, but I can't see nothing. I just can't move, but I can feel something on me. You know, and the only thing I'm able to do is I feel like I'm able to wiggle, and you know, I wasn't strong enough to get it off of me physically. Then whenever that moment came, I just went to the Lord, you know, asking Yahweh Shai, you know, to be with me, comfort me, you know, in that moment. And like I said, my eyes were open. And at first, you know, nothing happened, but I'm still saying Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, like talking to Yahweh Shai, like Lord, please get this off of me. You know, give me the strength to endure it. You know, I'm thinking these things, and I noticed myself, you know, trying to fight more, you know. Then it came to the point where I just stopped, and I just let loose. I'm not trying to push whatever the hell is on me off of me. I'm not trying to wiggle away from it. I just take it, you know. Then I just, you know, keep asking to the Lord, like, forgive me and please help me. Then it came to the time where it's like the realization of, well, nothing is happening, so what the hell you about to do? And it's like that moment of talking to myself, like Shema Wan, like, come on, what you about to do? And it made me think about a few scriptures, you know. I'll read one real quick. John 16:33. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. And just thinking about how Yahweh Shai, you know, he got the victory over the things that he was faced with. Even reading Matthew, the 4th chapter, Yahweh Shai was faced with, you know, battling demons. He had encounters with that. All right, and the scriptures also tell us, you know, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. You know, we got to face principalities, which are high-level demons. And I could say this was an account that was different from the others, because normally if, you know, I get attacked, I would be asleep. My eyes would be closed, and, you know, I would pray, and it would go away for the most part. But this one it didn't go away so quick. But, you know, whenever I laid there, and it's like I ain't gonna say I gave up. I just gave up on physically fighting. And that's whenever it's like just being able to endure whatever the Lord brought up on me, like that mindset. In Sirach, the 2nd chapter. Hold on. Ecclesiasticus, the 2nd chapter. It says, Sirach 2:2, set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Setting my mind right, you know, just speaking about that account, you know, literally having my mind lined up, like, do you fear the Lord more than you fear anything? And also not being hasty, you know, trying to do whatever it is that I could possibly do to get out of a situation that the Lord brought. All right, not making haste in a time of trouble. All right, which was very uncomfortable, but allowing it to play its course out while having faith in the Lord. because it's like me trying to wiggle and push whatever was on off of me. That's not the strength of this battle. You know, that's not the strength of this battle, bro. And I'm speaking to myself because I'm just expecting it to get more, you know, more spiritual, because the flesh is getting tested. The flesh is getting tested, but our focus is our spirit not breaking, you know. Matter of fact, let me get a precept. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Let me see in the NLT. I already got it. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 in verse, I'm going to start at 7 in the NLT. It says, "We now have this light shining in our hearts, but we ourselves are like fragile clay. We ourselves are like fragile clay jars containing this treasure." And that's how it is. We have this truth in earthen vessels, like it tells you in the KJV, right? But this flesh is weak. This flesh is corruptible. All right. This is not where our strength is in this flesh. It says, "This makes it clear that our great power is from the Most High, not of ourselves." That's where our power is. And literally thinking about it, it's like, if I wouldn't have called on the name of the Lord, even though nothing was like he didn't deliver me speedily, he allowed it to pretty much rest upon me for a little minute. But it's like if I would have gave up, like stopped calling on the name of the Lord, that's where you could say that's where I done fucked up. Okay, and excuse my language, but you know, that's not in that situation. It's like even though I'm sitting in it, I have to keep calling on the one who's bringing this to me. Okay, because understanding the Lord, you know, he brings good and evil, you know, bad times too, which is a part of our testing. And having the thoughts of, you know, these precepts that, man, we have the privilege to have access to and understand and have faith in. You know, I was just meditating on scriptures during that moment, you know. But let me keep reading. It says, "Our great power is from the Most High, not of ourselves." It says, "We are pressed on every side by troubles, but we are not crushed. We are perplexed, but not driven to despair." All right, and just looking up that word despair, it says to lose hope, be without hope. And regardless of what the situation looks like, we cannot unsee or unlearn what the Lord has put in us. You know, this gift of faith, knowing the truth, that, you know, that's within us, and that's what we have to apply at all times, regardless of how uncomfortable the flesh gets. And I'm humbly saying this because I don't want this to happen again. But if it does, guess what? We got the victory because we got Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. We literally call on the one who overcame the world. Okay? All of the attempts, all of the attacks, Yahweh Shai, he conquered that. And we will too. The scriptures tell us that. But yeah, that's despair. You know, to lose all hope. And that's not how the Lord's hopeful elect are going to be. Okay? Matter of fact, let me jump back to Sirach, the 2nd chapter. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2. And let's jump down real quick. It says, verse 12. Matter of fact, let's go to 11. Let's start there. Sirach 2 and 11, it says, "The Lord is full of compassion and merciful." Salaki, "The Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction. Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways." You know, so not losing your mind, not losing your faith, not losing your hope. all right? And not seeking something else besides the Lord, but staying faithful, all right, through the struggles, through the temptations, all right? So it says, woe be to the fearful hearts, the fearful minds, as if you can't get the victory like Yahweh Shai while we call on his name. You know, knowing that we're serving him to the best of our ability, knowing that we're really trying, you know, not on camera, but off camera too. You know, really applying these words to our life. Okay, not just being hearers of the words, but doers of the words. All right. It says, verse 13, woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended. All right. And I was thinking about that. Like, man, if I would stop calling on the name of the Lord, I damn sure don't know. I damn sure have no defense. You know, now you have no way out. All right. But let me go back. I was in the NLT. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 9 again, it says, verse 8 again, it says, we are pressed on every side by troubles, but we are not crushed. We are perplexed, but not driven to despair. Yeah, whatever happens doesn't break us to losing hope. You know, to just departing from this truth that we have access to, you know, just throwing away this heavenly gift and just, you know, that's not it. It says, but not driven to despair. We are hunted down, but never abandoned by the Most High. We get knocked down, but we are not destroyed. It says, through suffering, our bodies continue to share in the death of Hamashiach, Salaki, in the death of Yahweh Shai, so that the life of Yahweh Shai may also be seen in our bodies. And that's the part of getting the victory. Not quitting, not giving up, not losing hope, not having a faint heart, that weak spirit, but fighting where we're being attacked and we got to fight back. And our defense is through the spirit. That's our power, through the spirit, not these earthen vessels, man. Like it told you up, it's like how did it say? A fragile clay jar, you know, but with what is within this body, you know, that's what the Lord is coming back to get. And that's what is being tested constantly, you know. But it says, verse 11, yes, we live under constant danger of death because we serve Yahweh Shai. And the Lord even told us the servant is not greater than his master. The servant isn't greater than his Lord. So the same things that we face, guess what? Yahweh Shai experienced them. Yahweh Shai suffered those things, and Yahweh Shai endured them. It says, so that the life of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, will be evident in our dying bodies. So let me go to Romans, the 8th chapter. That was something that happened this morning where it was like, man, hey, whatever comes your way, guess what? You have to face it with the mindset and with the spirit of knowing who's bringing this and knowing that that is my way out. All right. You know, it felt like I was just stuck and this shit would never end, but it's like, nah, it has to end. This can't be forever. Yahweh Shai got power over these spirits. You know, I fear the Father of spirits. I fear the one who overcame the world and who got the victory. You know, just thinking about that, where it's like you have no choice but to apply it, or else you'll be a hypocrite. And that's something I don't want to be, because the Lord hates hypocrites, man. You know? But real quick, Romans, the 8th chapter. What does it say? Right here, 35. Romans 8 and 35. It says, who shall separate us from the love of Hamashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? So just many different kinds of, you know, temptations, tribulations, you know, things that can be very pressed, but it shouldn't be able to separate us from Yahweh Shai. Like the love that we have towards the Lord, you know, the gift that the Lord allowed us to receive. Nothing is more important, or nothing in existence should be able to take that away. All right. If we've been called, hey, Lord willing, man, we'll be chosen. We'll be the ones that the Yahweh Shai said, nothing can pluck them out of my hands. You know, verse 36, as it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep to the slaughter. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. And that's the point. You know, we're more than conquerors through him that loves us. And whatever it is that we have to suffer, we will be able to get the victory, because who we call on, you know, who our example is, who it is that we follow here in this weak ass body. But through the Spirit, the Lord recognizes and acknowledges that, man. All right. NLT, it says, no, despite all these things, overwhelming victory is ours through Hamashiach, who loved us. And that's it. And that's what we got to run with, you know, regardless. And it was whenever that happened, like I said, my eyes were open and I just lay there. And honestly, it's like in my mind, it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. But whenever I gave up physically fighting and I just started, you know, more so crying to the Lord and praying and, you know, thinking about the scriptures that, you know, that could be applied, it's like a calm came. Then on some real shit, it's like I prepared myself to see a demon, but I didn't see a figure. I just saw a shadow. Where if, like, say your blinds are closed and I don't have curtains or anything like that, but you can see the little holes through the blinds at night. I literally saw them. It looked like somebody just walked in front of the window, you know, and I heard dogs started barking and shit from the next door, where I knew I was like the shit left, like the demon left. But I didn't physically see, you know, a figure. I just saw the shadow pass. Then the dog started barking, you know, as it went away. But that was a moment, I could say, for me, you know, that was very uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, the Lord ain't a liar. You know, the Lord did not lie. All right. But let me finish this. Verse 38. It says, for I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of the Most High, which is in Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, our Lord. But I'll end it there. Man, I'll end it there. I pray this lesson was edifying to the Lord's elect. And this is the only hope that we have, is in the Lord. You know, we're going to go through tribulation and uncomfortable situations just from being in this flesh. And that's just the condition. That's a part of the battle, you know, because where we're going and what the Lord is about to bless us with is worth it. All right. We just got to keep having faith and keep fighting. So, hey, Lord willing, until the next time.